Good evening, Free Enterprise race fans, and welcome to another fantastic community race night on the eve of the ZZ5 tournament. We are running a real neat and unique flag set tonight. I am joined on Restream by the venerable Scala Kitty, Rybon pushing the buttons, and for his debut on comms, I have Tall Grant in the booth with me. Tall Grant, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Beauty. I'm having a great night tonight. I'm excited. This is actually looks like a really fun flag set, but what really makes me excited is the high-quality group of runners we got who are going to run the seed tonight. I believe we've got Neon Gray, who is an old hand. Well, I don't want to use the term old. That's a little bit rude to them, but has been in the Free Enterprise community for quite some time, quite the accomplished runner. We have Warlink05, who is also a fantastically fun runner and actually has been hanging out with you and I and Film Friends for this past club season. eNinja81, who's a stalwart, and you will see doing interesting things on the ladder and seems particularly skilled with the mystery flag sets. And the pillar and heart of the Pink Puff League, Asuka 424.
Indeed. Now, I do have to admit, I am not familiar with the game that this flag set is an homage to, which is Live Alive. It is a classic, cult classic on the Super Famicom that finally made its US debut. But we do have a character hunt as our flag set tonight. And let's see who our starting characters are as the gate drops, starting with a Palom and an Edge. That is going to make for an easy overworld.
Well, I will tell you that Palom, I think, is supposed to be standing in today for, I believe, Akira. And our Edge is going to be standing in for Oboro. So, should be a fun time. We're going to have a great time. And let's see what we can do. So it looks like we have some form of Mylon hanging out inside Baron Castle. But we are mostly tonight going to be on a character hunt. We actually want to find the 7 characters of Live Alive who are being handily played by Free Enterprise characters today.
Indeed, and with a rat tail to start, that kind of leaves you with your standard overworld checks. I think if I was a runner here, I'd be going for my character checks right off the bat. But we have 3 of our runners, Asuka, Ninja, Neon Gray, heading over to Troya, and Warlink making his way over to do some looting in Watery Pass.
Well, you say going for our character checks. Free characters are not turned on right now, so there are limited places where characters can be found and they actually require some work. So I think there are only 2 spots that are available for our runners to potentially go check. So we may see them heading to either Mount Hobbs or Baron Inn fairly soon. But Warlink with the looting and Watery Pass to open, which sometimes can find some great gear.
Speaking of Baron, with a Baron key as our free bedward check, yeah, I think you'll see Baron pretty early. That opens up another check to go along with Hobbs, Town of, and Town of Baron for our early overworld check. So we've got potential for 3 characters and 3 objectives before we even head underground.
Well, and I think I saw crystal armor flash up in the public treasury, which no one can wear tonight, but that certainly sells for a decent amount of money. And Neon Gray displaying one of the fun things of this seed. We have only cabins available for shopping. You will not find a whole lot to buy today.
Indeed, and the fans of Live Alive let me know that shops are not really a thing in that game. So in honor of that, we have turned on S cabins. So you are going to have to find all of your loot, which further makes sense why Warlink has decided to go very deep into Watery Pass for that looting. While we have Asuka giving us a look at our first character check at Hobbs, doing a little positioning before she heads on up.
Yep, and I will say, for those of you who have not done character hunting before, the characters we find at the start of the seed do not count toward fulfilling the objective. So, in order to find characters, anybody here is actually completing an objective regardless of who we see.
That is a very good point. So it's always going to be worthwhile. Octomime, not going to be a problem with the starting edge.
No, should be nice and easy, and probably just a couple of swings to get through it. I am happy to see Kane. He's one of the fun fighters of the seed, and if we can get him enough gear, he can be good. Ooh, Warlink finding both a Gaia drum and a rune ring in the back of Watery Pass. Those are really good pickups, especially that rune ring for Palom is going to really get him pumped up as soon as he can get a couple levels.
That makes it a lot more logical to do that looting. And looks like we did start with exits in our kit, which is fantastic. We don't have a character that's going to give us access to exit. So I think that really enables some of that deep looting that normally people ignore when they don't have access because it eats up a little more time.
Well, and there's Asuka getting our first character. and back down the mountain.
Indeed, and Warlink, no, Neon Gray right on the heels, parking outside of Hobbs, getting ready to go on up, and Warlink as well.
And I see E-Ninja also in the back of Watery Pass. I think I missed it when we saw Warlink go through there, but there's a nice boomerang for Edge in a full moon. That's going to allow him to be back road. Though I think actually the back row glitch is off, so the only way to do it is to manually back row him.
Indeed. So typically with the back row glitch on, once you apply a back row item, like say a bow, or in the case of Edge, a boomerang, once that item is on, the game leaves that status on the character, even if you unequip. So you can leave on the back row with their full powered items and they'll still do an absolute ton of damage. But with that glitch off, you will have to leave that back row item on to enjoy that benefit.
Right, and I will mention Asuka's found the Dark Imps in the in Antline Cave. This should be no problem of a fight. Pretty simple with this party, and Palom making good work with his big fire. I will also mention, for those of you who may be peeking back in on Free Enterprise after a bit of a break, we actually have a way to toggle off the back row glitch. For the longest time, it was something that was just always there, but it can now be shut off as a glitch. And as you watch the upcoming ZZ5 tournament, in Blue Moon you will see the back row glitch is available, and in Red Moon I believe it is not. Speaking of which, if you are thinking about playing in ZZ5, tonight is the last time to sign up for it. Signups are going to be closing in approximately 5 hours. So if you've been thinking about it and you're on the fence, I'd highly encourage you. You certainly can make lots of great friends in there and be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So Asuka getting through Dark Imps, one of our free boss fights because they tend to be relatively underpowered and easy to take down, and finding a Sand Ruby, which we're on a character hunt, and what better item to get than a Sand Ruby, which is going to let you go right on into Kaipo Bed and get another character.
And actually a real efficient set of routing just because it's right there.
And I do have to clarify, thank you, Rybon, in chat, letting us know that back row glitch actually is in fact on in this flag set. So
can you tell that I'm registered for Blue Moon?
Indeed. Likewise, I'm guilty as charged too.
Alrighty, E-Ninja did a little bit of extended looting in the cave, and but he is out as well. We see Asuka now is making her way down to check out some of the stuff in Watery Pass, and E-Ninja is going to go right neck and neck with Asuka to go check that character in Kaipo. Another full moon, very nice find for E-Ninja there.
And we have Yang in the bed at Kaipo, so that's going to be another one of our melee characters. A lot of people feel like he's on the B squad, but I am personally a lover of Yang. You get him the proper amount of levels, and he will absolutely do work for you. So a little hard to start off with, but hey, he's an objective, and that's all that matters right now.
Well, there's a reason we call him the Punch Mage. He actually is not as gear dependent as somebody like Kane or Edge can be. Just give him his levels, and he will do the damage. And with a nice elemental claw, he can be quite good against certain bosses. It looks like Warlink is through an Antline Cave, has grabbed his Sand Ruby. And Edge, over on Neon Gray side, is about to take through the Octomam fight.
Yes, Octomam is a little bit of a tricky boss, tends to be quite fast, but the benefit to Octomam is the more damage you do, the more of those tentacles on its sprite will disappear and it will slow down. So while it may be difficult to start, if you can get at least a modicum of damage out to get those tentacles to start disappearing, the fight becomes much more manageable. As Neon Gray is displaying, there's no issue there at this spot with so little HP anyways.
Alrighty, well, we have Warlink going to check the John Burkhead Memorial Treasury down in Damsian Basement, and Asuka making her way over to fend Fabul. I see a Thunderclaw and a Ninja Hat down in the basement. Those are both fantastic items. There are a lot of bosses who are weak to Thunder, and that'll go really nicely on Edge. And a Sammy Bow. Really good looting there for Warlink.
Yeah, Samurai Bow, I believe, second best bow in the game next to the Artemis Bow, colloquially known as the Artie Bow, but real fantastic find. Also, like I said, for certain characters, that's going to give you the back row status, which will be fantastic. And, sometimes when you find someone like, say, Rosa, she's going to do some good work for you. Actually, no, I believe Rosa's out of this seed.
Rosa is indeed out of the seed. I will mention a question that came up in chat is about the format for the ZZ5 tournament. There's actually going to be what appears to be 2, and we'll split into 4 tournaments. We're going to be split between 2 flag sets, either the Red Moon or Blue Moon, with the Blue Moon being kind of a T-Wildish, a little more open and free kind of flag set, and then the Red Moon set to have a interesting YAML to make the bosses a little bit stricter and a lot more stingy in the treasure requirements. And each of those will then divide up into a waxing and waning bracket, so there will actually be 4 champions coming out of ZZ5. Asuka finding the officer and guards are attacking Fabul. I think we're about to see Neon Gray into that fight as well. And Asuka is going to go after the officer in the back. Now, the interesting thing about this fight is that officer is quite the coward. If you take out his soldiers, he will immediately run away. But most of the experience in that fight is concentrated in that officer. So if you want to get some levels on your characters, particularly Asuka's naming implies if you're looking to get Quake on Palom, you try and kill that character, and if even better, life glitch that.
Yes, and if you rather would save that, does end up saving some time, but if you follow the path that Asuka's going and you kill the officer, the soldiers without their leader get a little bit confused and start knocking each other around and doing a lot of work for you, so the fight becomes much more manageable. They're not going to put any more damage out to you, and it makes for a very easy Fabul here today on this overworld. 2 free bosses so far. Now Asuka taking an interesting approach with Palom. Did kill Palom, I'm going to guess, conserving a little bit of XP there, looking to execute a slingshot on the Quack Kid.
Yeah, and for those who are unfamiliar with it, when you have 5 characters in party, if 1 or 2 of them are 5 levels behind the other characters, they'll actually earn double experience until they've caught up. So if you can keep them down on the ground until an appropriate fight with a lot of experience, you can really boost and shoot them ahead, and that may be what Asuka's planning to set up here. Neon Gray also through the fight there. We see E-Ninjas in here taking a little bit more traditional strategy just to take out the soldiers, and Warlink diverging and heading for Baron Inn and finding Water Hag. A nice free fight.
That is 3 fights on the overworld. I have to think that our runners are hoping they do not have to go to the moon tonight, because it looks like all of our hard bosses migrated up to the moon and all the free bosses decided to stay earthbound.
Well, and as a runner, it's kind of disheartening to see it, but as a viewer of this, it's always fun because it means that we're going to get to see some interesting and potentially rude fights and get to watch how well our runners can handle them.
Oh goodness, I hope that we're not wishing a Kanazo fight in the element spot with a required character back there, because...
No, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Agreed.
Well, Asuka has got a little more divergence and is going to head up Mount Ordeals for us. Ordeals is not helpful in that it makes Cecil promoted, but sometimes people overlook that Ordeals gets Tella a whole lot of spells and turns him into quite the useful character. The second boss in Baron Inn is going to be an Odin. This is where having found that Thunderclaw could be a big deal. I don't think Warlink was in the group that collected those, though.
I don't believe so, because he is not tossing it on there. Odin is weak to Thunder, so tossing a Thunderclaw on their edge will just absolutely destroy and mow down Odin. But you know what? When you got a Palom with Lit 2, that's more than enough. So through that fight, Warlink is, and as a reward, we get a Legend Sword, half of Forge. And I do think that we forgot to point out, or through our chatting, that defending Fabul was a tower key.
That is true. I think we totally did not bring that up. E-Ninja making his way, finding a nice Gaia drum. That may be helpful as he makes his way up Ordeals, and a Blizzard Spear, which could be great for Kane until we find a end-level weapon, and fantastic if we see a Ruby. Asuka is fighting an Ashura up there. Ashura is being a mage boss, and I saw that Asuka was taking the opportunity to get rid of Edge's old crummy weapons by darting them and do some great inventory management, particularly because you won't find much to shop with. That's one of the best things you can probably do with it. Otherwise, you're probably just trashing them. And Neon Gray, who has faded Antlion, has finally gone down to collect their Sand Ruby.
Neon Gray also showing off one of the great benefits of an early Edge. Edge comes with the Flame spell, which is a fantastic kind of AoE for when you run into those bosses like the Dark Imps that have multiple targets and you just need to get through them as fast as possible. It really, not only does Edge come at relatively high levels because of where you get him in the vanilla game, but that Flame spell will do a lot of work for you early if you run this stuff like Calbrenna or those Dark Imps.
And I see our second boss in the back attack spot on Ordeals is Dr. Dialogue. Dr. Luge, who likes to be rather wordy, and because of the speed slowdown in the spot, we're going to get to see a good amount of his speech, which frankly I don't think is interesting to anybody besides him.
Who loves a good monologue, right? We are getting a question chat about objective names. Indeed, since this flag set is an homage to Live Alive, our lovely tracker has decided to match our objectives with the name of the Live Alive characters they represent. So unfortunately for you and I, Grant, and probably a few other people in chat, it's a little more difficult to understand. But suffice it to say, all the characters that are available in the seed that we are looking for are objectives. There are 7 restricted characters, 7 objectives. You got to find everybody to get your crystal and head off to Z.
Yeah, so the long and short of it is you need to find all 7 of the characters in order to complete the seed. Which actually, since you and I haven't really talked a lot of seed strategy while everyone's kind of converging on Ordeals, this might be a good time to talk about. The character checks in this game are clustered in a few locations, but it means that there are a few spots that are more valuable than others, and probably the most valuable of those is us looking for that Earth Crystal. Not only does it give us a chance to rate the treasury, which is a favorite activity, but behind that check on the Tower of Zot are 2 characters and potentially 2 portions of the 7 objectives we need to get done.
Yeah, the Earth Crystal is really going to have high value tonight. I think getting underground too, some people do enjoy Fading Dwarf Castle. I'm a big fan of taking it, but you do have a character check there, so I think you'll see a lot of our runners as soon as they're able to get underground, taking Dwarf Castle maybe earlier than other people would. But that said, Asuka threw all 3 of our bosses and about to head into the shrine here.
Well, what I find interesting...
giving us a nice little poison dance there to enjoy the lovely sound effect.
Well, I'm kind of enjoying the... I'm enjoying seeing the runners who took some very different routes in the overworld have all converged onto Mount Ordeals. We all have the same key items. We all have the same objective. We don't quite have the same objectives done, but that's... related toward the Find a Porum that Warlink did in Baron Inn. So I think that kind of that one check for Warlink has put him a tiny bit out in front right now. But race is still close, and we have an obnoxious Mom Bomb in the mirror room. Beauty, why is Mom Bomb a pain to fight here?
Mom Bomb is a pain to fight anywhere, in my opinion, because that boss is unique in that anywhere it is placed in the randomization, it comes with an extra 9,000 hit points. So one of the nice parts about the Moon Shrine here, the shrine at the top of Ordeals, is this spot typically only has about 1,000 HP. Mom Bomb, nope, 10,000 you're going to have to chew through. So more than likely with the type of party you're going through up there, you are not going to be able to get through that HP, though Asuka is trying her darndest to do it. Probably better just to wait out for the explosion script where it splits into 6 different targets and then sweep them away with a flame or a multi-target spell.
All right, well, we have all 3 bosses being fought simultaneously as we come through our way on Ordeals, and I just noticed that we got a twin harp.
Oh, I hope we have music in our future tonight.
Oh,
I know.
There was some great music from Live Alive at the beginning here, and wouldn't it be epic if we could manage to get one of those tonight?
I have to assume there are, because there are so many songs in the pool for harp. There has to be a few Live Alives. I don't think I've run into them, but hopefully there's some magic on the back end. Crossing my fingers for it.
So those of you who are new to Free Enterprise, this is a randomizer that takes Final Fantasy IV and mixes up all kinds of interesting pieces of it, which you can obviously see the characters and bosses have been shuffled around. We've kind of changed the gameplay. One of the more exciting aspects of it is the fact that it also randomizes the harp song that Edward plays during the fight with Dark Elf at Cave Magnus. And there's a pool of, I think we're getting close to 300 songs these days. Am I right? That might be
we have quite a few, actually. I think oh goodness, it's definitely hundreds out there, but nonetheless there is a lot of stuff out there, and that's one of the joys in the seed. Even for, I would argue, even for some of the people that dislike the check, you at least enjoy the music when you maybe are compelled to do the check, which it is a check that not a lot of runners like to do, because it is a little on the longer side with and is only 1 key item check with no character checks, so often it does get faded.
All right, well, Asuka's down and E-Ninja's out of the fight, making nice work of that Mom Bomb up there. I can see Warlink making progress, and Asuka's going to go find out who's in Baron Inn and get to fight with our Water Hag that we spotted earlier. I'm kind of curious to see where we go next, seeing as I don't think Underground Access has revealed itself to us yet, and we're kind of running out of places to go look.
I was just noticing that as well, Grant. We have done all the standard available right off the bat overworld checks, but we still have two that had key items that have been given to us. That harp we were just talking about, and the Baron key, which once again is a key item check, a character check, and then one extra kind of visual check if you want to go all the way down to the Odin throne room in the basement. That said, I do not think any runners will, because K summon is off, so that spot will be nothing more than a boss. I doubt that they will see any friendly visits.
Well, the other thing is Underground Access, I believe, cannot be on the throne in the basement. So we will put a special shout out to our good friend Harump, who would obviously strategically prefer people check Baron before they go to Twin Harp. And maybe there's some logic in it. I mean, Twin Harp has a bit of a cutscene and a bit of a walk to get there, but you get music. You know you want to do it.
And sometimes as a commentary, you like music because you take the opportunity to be quiet, let the audience enjoy the music, have a sip of water, and take a little break. So I wouldn't be too opposed to it myself.
Mm-hmm. All right, E-Ninja and Asuka both fighting with the Odin, and I'm curious to see where Warlink goes, because Warlink is done in Baron Inn and could be heading somewhere else. The Warlink is missing that Baron key. I believe that came from a fade in Fabul, did it not?
I believe it did, yes. So no Baron key for Warlink. So they may end up looking around for that one, or may just charge Harp. It'll be an interesting decision. I would think they're going to head to Fabul. Sure enough, there he is.
Yep. All right, well, Neon Gray finishing with Mom Bomb up in the mirror room, and Asuka and E-Ninja right on each other's heels coming out of Baron Inn. I'm curious to see. Asuka has no hesitation and wants to go open the sewer and head down into Baron Castle.
Yes, this seed has decided to kind of funnel a lot of our runners together in the way that the routing is. There's really only one divergence that you can make here, whether you go Baron Castle or the Harp check. But Asuka, having not checked Baron Inn, which is one of our kind of free checks on the overworld, they're available right off the bat, makes a lot of sense with easy routing to get that done and then just head right into the sewer system and up to see who the imposter is tonight.
And to call attention to something you mentioned earlier, Beauty, if you saw Warlink just used Edge's Flame ability and very, very quickly dispatched that officer and guards. All right,
Neon Gray finally through ordeals as well. They'll be getting their, help me remember there at the Twin Harp. Thank you. Everything's flying by so quick. And once again is in that position of having to make the decision which check to go to next.
Well, I'm watching to see if any of our runners are tempted by force of habit to go check shops again and forget that there are cabins available for sale only, because that's certainly the sort of mistake I'd make. I don't think I was watching the other runners carefully in Fabul. I did see Warlink pick up a Silk Web there. That is a nice find. That is a great J item that casts slow twice on an enemy and is really useful in several fights, and particularly against Aromas. All right. What form of Mylon do we have?
Mylon Z. Now we are really missing that Cecil here, Mylon Z being one of the bosses that is very, very weak to holy damage. That said, Kane does have the White Spear, but we have not picked that up yet. Regardless, with Kane and Edge both doing fantastic damage, I can't imagine either runner will struggle with the spot.
Well, the question is, does anybody want to gamble and head for Twin Heart before Baron? And Warlink does. Warlink is headed to get himself a Black Chocobo.
Warlink, the runner of the people. You'll love to see it. Thank you, Warlink.
So, I think we have music inbound in the very near future. All right, E-Ninja really making some fast work of that Mylon. In fact, I think he was slightly behind Asuka as far as the Baron check, and he is going to have made up a little bit of time on her here.
Absolutely. Asuka going to get to that throne room first, and we see a lunar sparkle.
You know, I've been seeing some cruel wyverns here. I hope that's not what we're going to run into.
Oh, yes. That said, even if this is a wyvern, which tonight
Oh
it
no!
is, witch burn is on. Witch
Oh,
burn is on. So it is not automatically absolutely devastating. Oh, Ned, I take it back. It's still pretty devastating. Oh,
uh,
no.
for a wyvern fight, that's not going to be terrible. Wyvern's going to next step is going to be to put up wall and then start mega nuke, start reflecting nukes. But I think the health in this spot is roughly 4,000, I think, and I suspect that this wyvern will get burned through before anything too bad can happen.
Indeed, Asuka making relatively quick work of it. We have not seen Wyvern go far enough into its script to toss up its wall yet. So, and regardless, with a full party there, even with a wall going up and some nukes coming out, Wyvern is slow enough. You can just play life pot roulette and are able to kind of keep up with the nukes and get your party members back up, keep doing damage. And like I said, not even enough speed to put up its wall before it starts crumbling.
All right. Well, we have Cave Magnus being infiltrated by Warlink as we speak. I suspect we're going to see Neon Gray cash in that Baron key. And in the meantime, let's see our character and see if we get an objective cleared off here. Duplicate cane. That is a duplicate cane. That is not progress.
Indeed, that is not progress. And on top of that, see no dupes is on, so you cannot get two of the same character. So last the character check does not pan out. Asuka hoping here for a key item that does.
Was that a version of Dr. Luge who prevented the walls from collapsing on Asuka in there?
Indeed, I think it is. Maybe feeling bad about that time on ordeals and making a little bit of penance.
Well, I think we're about to be in a bit of a crisis with the Dark Elf, so I'm going to take a little break here and let the crowd enjoy what kind of music we may have prepared.
Oh, interesting. That is a fantastic pickup. Asuka picking up the Earth Crystal from Baron. That being said, I will have to zip my lip too while we get ready for DJ Spoony Bard to play us a song tonight. The question here is if Asuka goes for that Earth Crystal or if she routes in Harp first.
All right, and we looks like we have Warlink through the fight with the Karate Man. Great music, by the way.
Indeed, I was liking that one a lot. I did not recognize that song, but once I know what the song is, I may have to follow up on that one.
Oh, that's well, it shouldn't surprise you. That's from Live Alive. Anyway,
Magic.
and we have our hook. We have a hook route coming out of the out of Cave Magnus. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about the treasury, which you can see E-Ninja looting right now. E-Ninja did struggle a little bit with the worst boss of all Free Enterprise, the inventory boss, but it looks like it's straightened out. A couple of goodies in here. I saw a very nice crystal ring. That Artemis bow is quite wonderful. The rune axe could be great against the right boss if we see a mage of some sort. I did also see that Asuka stopped to pet the flame doggy on the way up. I didn't see what was in the chest there, though.
I unfortunately missed that too because I was so riveted by this treasury check, unfortunately. But yeah, that hook route, that is really interesting. And now I think you have to wonder, Warlink actually not having the Earth Crystal probably is going to go charge that hook relatively soon.
He is. It's a real interesting call for him, whether it's worth his time to go to Baron, because that is a interesting check. Of course, I think we misread it. The Baron key is actually here with Edward. He's going to get handed to him right now. I think we accidentally mentioned it was in Fabul, and that was not correct. I think Fabul had I think the Legend Sword, maybe. Anyway, but that puts Warlink in an interesting position because there's character checks on the hook route, but there's also a character check in Baron. And I don't know how he feels about his levels and ability. We have not seen Big Hanzo steal for Edge yet tonight.
No, unfortunately. So Edge is going to start not putting the damage out that you would like to see later game without those stronger swords. Early enough, not as much of an issue, but equipment does become an issue for him and also for Kane, which I think makes it a little easier to deal with cabins, as most of the time you're going to be finding that loot for them and that equipment in treasure chests. Now, Rybon in chat pointing out that Magma Key can be behind the Earth Crystal up here on Zot, as we do not have either of the Force flags on. So, yeah, I think if you are Warlink, you look at that hook in your inventory and you think to yourself, is it worth it to run that hook route, or do you finish clearing out your overworld checks?
Lunar Dragons for Asuka, and this is a little bit of an annoying spot for this. Because of the way the randomizer works, it'll take all the hit points of the space and put them in the enemy. Normally, the Lunar Dragons have their hit points split in half, but there's actually 3 Magus sisters whose health they're splitting. And it's not really insignificant. And with the virus cycle going, this could be a bit of a rough fight. E-Ninja opting for a little bit different strategy up here. E-Ninja is going to go with magic to attack them, which actually does not trigger their wall and counter script that Asuka is currently facing.
Wow, I think the only thing we know in advance is that you will not have your underground access behind Zot, because Warlink turning in our starting item, the rat tail, with that hook, and sure enough, there's your magma key.
Wow.
So you have underground access 1 behind underground access 2. That said, before going underground, Warlink is going to check our hook route shop. This is a gated shop. Or what am I talking about? cabins are on. Never mind. They're going to do some looting and also do a character check. That's the important thing tonight. Mm-hmm. My ZZ5 brain is on right now.
Yep. Well, the other thing that I found interesting is I'm not sure we saw this in the starting kits that there are a couple of exits in there. I'm not sure. I think Warlink's the only person who I've actually seen use one so far.
Yeah, in fact, E-Ninja threw them away as part of the inventory boss struggle in the treasury. So, you do have the Porum in your party. Now, not to be confused up on Warlink's side, you just saw a Cecil sprite. Cecil's not an on character. That instead is going to be Dark Knight Cecil, the boss, on the hook route. So all the more reason maybe to turn around and run away. But unfortunately, also, once again, a second edge that will not count towards your objectives, and you can't, unfortunately, get him in your party twice.
Well, actually, didn't we not start with an edge?
We did. Thank you for reminding me as well. You established that your starting characters do not count for the objective, so you will get the objective there. GG on Warlink for doing the check, but you can't have a second edge in your party, so only a 1-for-2 deal there.
Well, the other interesting thing, there's a Tella. That's another, we talk about the underground access being great for Warlink. We can see that E-Ninja is currently knocking out objectives.
Very much so. That Tella is going to be an objective. Already have the Yang from the bed for the Sand Ruby. Asuka having a little bit of a tough fight with the D-Lunars. The D-Lunars are an interesting boss in that their script They will go through a bit of a pattern with physical attacks and fires, but if you attack them with just a normal physical attack command, they will immediately put some walls up and start bouncing viruses back at you, which can be very damaging in a lot of spots. So usually the strat there is to stay away from the attack command, but regardless, Asuka through that fight and going to be heading up to see what E-Ninja has already seen.
Well, I think the real reward, though, is going to be watching Neon Grey, who is going to go give us a second helping of music tonight. And with the quality of the song that we had, I think it's going to be fantastic. E-Ninja finds the second boss is Plague. Plague is normally scary, but with the damage this party has, I don't think this is going to be any sort of problem to get through.
It could be a little problematic. You are fast anchored with that edge, so that count is going to go rather quick. You'll have to make sure you are able to play Life Pot Roulette to keep that counter from counting down on everybody.
I think E-Ninja will get through this. The health in this spot's only about 4,000. E-Ninja's done about 3,000 so far to it. I might have underestimated a tiny bit, but I believe that's about where that health stands.
Yep,
it might be 5 or 6. It's in that 4 to 6 range. So very nicely done on E-Ninja's part. All right, and we're going to drop out for some music. Second helping.
Absolutely. We're going to be dropping out quite often because hard value underground is very, or I should say underground access is hard required behind this harp. So everyone's going to make the trek up here, but I'm going to go zip my lip and let you all enjoy again and do a little head bobbing over here.
And Neon Grey nicely through the fight. I will comment, Neon Grey's routing from an efficiency standpoint with the way that the harp and the Earth Crystal check sequencing is going to actually help her, help them make up time. It's a very nice sequence because when you come out of Tower of Zod, it warps you back down to Baron Castle, and doing the harp first means that you can park the airship once. You don't have to do that fly time and make your way back for the landing. So this should be a nice chance for Neon Grey to catch up. In the meantime, E-Ninja about to give us another harp, another check for harp music, and Asuka working on that plague now. I would say that Rybon pointed out there's some bonus damage for using that boomerang with Edge on play. You could see that whenever Edge goes, there's usually a pretty big bump in damage just because the amount of extra multiplier that goes there. I think it's a 4-time multiplier for attacking a flying enemy with it.
Not sure about the 4-time. I actually didn't know that. I learned that today. I knew arrows did extra damage because Plug is floating, but that full moon boomerang, I'm gonna have to log that away in my knowledge bank.
That might be it might be a 2, not a 4. It may just be 4s with the elementals, but there is a bonus for doing that, so that's always a helpful thing when you're fighting with Plague.
E-Ninja getting through the Earth Crystal, unfortunately finding out underground access is not there, but finding an item that is very nice to have before going underground, the pan.
Well, and looks like we're going to have our third set of music coming right up, and I bet you Asuka will be right behind. with
E-Ninja. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Now you can take it, Beauty.
E-Ninja making quick work of that boss and finding that hook. Now the question is, will E-Ninja turn that rail tail in to find the magma key? Or will they think to themselves, can I go ahead and make it underground faster just by taking my access right now and getting it done?
Well, and I will point out that during the music break there, Asuka took the time to loot all the hidden chests in the Chocobo Forest, which is epically fun and neat to watch. In the meantime, we have Neon Grey and Warlink who've decided that Zot is worth checking out before any sort of attempt to go underground. So we get to watch them both approach the D-Lunar fight and see where they go with it. And I see Neon Grey taking advantage of one other advantage of the fight. These are undead enemies, therefore cure spells actually do damage to them.
Yeah, and it's an interesting decision by Warlink with underground access in both access to it, so it is there, deciding to wrap up the overworld with the Earth Crystal rather than immediately go underground.
Well, I suspect he's up there for the 2 character checks and hopefully completing some objectives.
Very, very
All
true,
right.
but
We'll let you all have one more round of music. And with Asuka through, I think we're done with music. However, I'm seeing an interesting gamble on E-Ninja's side. I believe E-Ninja dropped the hovercraft without going down to check the character on the hook route, and I suspect this is a calculated chance to see if he can save the time walking down and not go check that character.
yeah, it is a quick check, but at the same time, with Sino dupes on and you already have 3 of your objectives, actually, no, 4, because we have objective 1 and 2 on our tracker are double objectives. Maybe thinking we could just get underground, do Dwarf Castle, got you pan in hand, do a few other key items checks, and maybe get up to the moon.
Well, and I will point out it was a Edge, so it currently is a character that's gaining an objective because I believe we started with Edge, so I think that that's new. But it looks like Neon Grey taking care of that plague without too much issue. And where do we have Asuka headed toward? To get the hovercraft. E-Ninjas decided we're going to go check monster boxes in Lower Babel, and I gotta believe that the reason we're here is to try and steal sirens.
Yes, sirens are well known as one of the best tools for getting a grind underway here on Free Enterprise. That being said, if they are not available in a shop, you can sneak them off of these alerts in the trap box in Lower Babel.
Well, and with S cabins on, they won't be available in a shop today.
Exactly. So very heads up play by E-Ninja remembering this. He will be able to get his grind on a little bit later.
One other interesting technique that you see E-Ninja doing here is you saw Porum throughout the Cry command. The Cry command is kind of broken. It really only does one effective thing in this game, and that is it lowers the resistance to stealing on enemies. So this is the one spot where if you are using Porum that you can effectively do something with Cry.
There are 2 spots. I have seen some cheeky steals from Mad Ogres. Another fun fact, Bacchus Wine, another coveted item that will not be in shops tonight as well. You can steal those from Mad Ogres in the chests in Upper Babel and Eblin. So we may see
And if that's not enough, the little used third strat is if you go down into the Sylph Cave and find the centipede, you can steal silk webs from them.
Yes, and as you mentioned earlier, very useful item there. Soak webs, casting, effectively casting slow twice on any enemy you use it on. It is a almost required, not quite, item for Z, because Z is very fast and it will slow him down and make your boss fight there at the end of the game a lot easier.
Well, all 4 of our runners have made the big brain play and have thought to check Rat Tail to look to see if that if the magma key is there, and they'll all be rewarded for it. I'm curious to see if we get some divergence once we go underground. Asuka is, of course, going to go grab her objective and turn in that edge on the hook route. And E-Ninja has decided he has stolen enough sirens. I think he got somewhere in the order of 8 of them. Let's see, 7 of them, excuse me, I miscounted. And I think actually it was 6 stolen and 1 that he found earlier.
Oh, don't look at me. I can't even keep heads up on the objectives tonight. I guess it's a good thing I'm not a runner because I would be making mistakes left and right. But yes, that edge in Eblin Cave is required because we started with the edge, so he does not count towards our objectives.
Well, speaking of enjoying watching races, if you like watching the races and you're having fun, I would encourage you to explore the possibility of being on the Restream team. It's quite exciting. It's interesting. You get to do lots of neat things. If you are tracking, you get to push the buttons and hopefully not just eat them. And there's great information on the Free Enterprise Discord. Speaking of which, if you are just seeing Free Enterprise for the first time or have been just following it just a little bit lately, I would highly, highly encourage you to join our Discord. The link is right in our chat, and the Discord is a great place to meet people, who will help you get started, help you kind of feel your way around it, and just overall one of the most nice and welcoming communities you'll find out there in the internet. So highly, highly encourage you to come out and join us. We'd love to see you.
Very much so. It's been a great community to be part of. Warlink showing us Edge's parents giving a little dance before unfortunately having to fight here at Dwarf Castle. So just as we were guessing, Warlink making a beeline right for Dwarf Castle, get another character check in.
Well, and there's 2 ways to approach this King-Queen Eblin fight. One is if you let them be, they will self-eliminate. The other thing is to kill the King of Eblin as quickly as possible. Once you do that, the Queen will self-eliminate right behind him. And I think Warlink figured he could save some time by not sitting through the 6 or so fire animations of spells they'll attack him with before they become conscious. And based on how quickly the King went down, he's right.
Now, Neon Gray showing us another thing, too. We've talked a lot about S-Captains tonight. What's interesting is I think Neon Gray is the first runner to go into Eblin and do some looting. Eblin is well known for having fantastic loot, especially for a completely ungated and wide open check early in the game. And the only thing you really have to worry about there is the 3 trap chests.
Well, and the other... it's interesting. All 4 runners have diverged. Asuka is now down doing the pan, first of all, so checking for key items, and I think hoping for maybe Darkness Crystal. I think that's the one that'll open up the other character that we don't really have access to. That actually opens 2 character checks, one on the moon and then another one on Giant. E-Ninja has decided to loot through several of these sirens looking for goodies down in Lower Babel. So it's interesting. And a defense sword for Kane is quite the good payout for him. Warlink has now found the second boss is Antlion, who somehow made his way from the moon back down here to the underground.
Oh no, Asuka finding an Excalibur from the Sylph Pan Bonk. You shed a little tear, but then you cheer right up because it is a fantastic dart for Edge. So even if Cecil isn't in the seat, that Excalibur will still be very useful and also be a really good tool to get you through a couple cheeky fights that maybe are a little more difficult.
All right. Well, and Asuka making the following the old adage, grind early and grind quickly. So Asuka's going to go take some eggs and try and get some levels on Palom, which should make him quite the damage machine. In the meantime, we have the Red Hand of Doom going to steal the crystal, and we're about to find out what goodies await inside Dwarf Castle. You will see that the Palom objective was fulfilled, so we are finding progress there on Warlink's side from the character check.
Yes, Warlink is very close to go mode. I believe we have seen the edge. I'm fairly confident Warlink did check that hook. I think it was E-Ninja that skipped it. So that means Warlink is 1 character shy of getting their crystal.
Well, and just to point out, as far as glitches go, warp glitch is not on, so the back door into sealed cave is closed, and Warlink is going to have to look elsewhere to go key item hunting. Neon Gray stumbles across the ogres, mad ogres up in Eblin, which are an interesting fight, particularly because they are both mages and giants. They have some interesting weaknesses. E-Ninja completing the super cannon room. The boss fight passed by so quickly, I didn't quite see who was in there.
That was D-Mist, usually a boss that will get you a little excited when K no free is on, because that turns the normally free bedward check into a boss hunt for that D-Mist to go turn into Rydia's mom. But unfortunately, D-Mist will just be an easy fight in that tower room and a quick check.
All right, Warlink, having no interest in the bosses down in the Fey March, grabs the free chest and gets out. I didn't quite see what the item was there.
Oh, package. That is another character check right there. One of the longest in the game. But nonetheless, when you are on a character hunt, that's sitting through that is absolutely worth it if it is your objective. So Warlink may be in go mode in just a moment walking into Mist.
You say go mode. Warlink is missing one other key item. Warlink does not have a path to get to the end of the game.
I believe I see the pass lit up in Warlink's tracker.
Oh, you're right. I'm looking at the wrong screen. Warlink has picked up the pass.
Indeed, right on our tracker, letting us know that that was the reward for finishing up Dwarf Castle. So it does have the access. Got to snap your finger though. That was another Tella, not who you're looking for.
All right, Asuka is going to give us a peek at Sheila at the Sheila checks.
Yeah, Asuka, the first one to do the Panbonk. Panbonk is really neat because it's normally 3 key item checks. That said, K summon is off, so that Sylph was never going to give you a key item on tonight's flag set. But Sheila has 2 in her pocket, so let's see if Sheila's got the goods. There's your other route to the moon and to Z.
And a spoon. It is too bad we don't have Edward available, but that is a wonderful dart for Edge.
Yeah, very interesting. Excal from the Sylphs and a spoon from Sheila. A nice bit of vanilla there, I believe. I think that is where the spoon normally falls. So I think actually that is our first little dollop of vanilla in the seed.
All right, Neon Gray on the way to grab that Edge character and continue forward. E-Ninja is also going to go ahead and chase after Sheila, and Asuka wants to see what's behind that package. We're starting to get down there as far as character checks are available, and with Asuka, I think actually has access to all the available character spots with the key items in hand now. So now it's just a matter of checking them and getting in-game ready.
That is correct. That darkness crystal opens
it's a
up. But that darkness crystal does open up 2 character checks. One on the lunar dais, that is the easy check to do with that. A little bit more on the difficult side though is on the backside of Giant. You'll have to grind through 2 fights to do that character check. And well, I think if our varying audience likes to be on the meaner side, which we do, I think we're hoping for that Giant character to be our final objective.
I will note the Super Cannon room gave us a crystal sword, which is not particularly useful in this set, even less so than usual, because without Cecil, no one can equip it, and since we're only selling cabins in this shop, it's not so good to sell, and Edge, for whatever reason, cannot throw it. So that's too bad. The real question for us, I think, is how rude does this seed want to be? We've only got 2 spots that we haven't seen between the 4 runners where Sid could be hiding, and if he's not up on the lunar dais, required Giant.
Quick. We're not supposed to do math on stream, but I really would be curious what the crystal sword to cabin conversion ratio is.
Let's just say you could set up a nice community in the mountains outside of Barren with that.
Build a cabin every day, burn it down at the first thing in the morning after you sleep, build it again.
All right, Warlink the first to get on the tower and wish for the lunar whale.
Yeah, Warlink, once again, looking for that singular character. You gotta think that Warlink is going to go up to the moon and check that lunar dais, so we'll find out relatively quickly. And if he finds that character, you only got to do your grind before you go finish up the seed. And at only 54 minutes, this seed's looking to be quite jetty.
Well, then, before we get too far along with things, I should give a special shout out to our team that is running this seed tonight. We have, of course, Rybon, who's been pushing the buttons and watching the items track, and Scala Kitty, who is running the broadcast, making everything look wonderful and making sure that the entire broadcast doesn't go up in flames. And, of course, Beauty and Discovery, who's my broadcast partner, is quite a fun person. All of these people are worth a follow if you got a chance to throw it to them.
Thank you so much, Grant. Now, we do have a variety of runners off stream as well. That's one of the fun things about these community races that take place on Mondays and Fridays during club season, is just because we have 4 people running, everyone in the community is invited. So as we've mentioned, join that Discord, learn more about the game if it's something that you have fun with, and you too can be part of these community races.
All right, well, we can see Asuka has decided to steal Sirens out of the E-Ninja playbook. E-Ninja is following Asuka's lead by doing some eggs. I did see Neon Grey pick up a Zeus Collar, which is a pretty nice item, and Warlink has decided that before heading up to the moon, it's best to go to loot inside Evelyn and see what kind of goodies are available.
Probably looking for some better equipment. Like I was mentioning with that Cane and Edge, they are very equipment heavy. Dwarf Axe, a fantastic find. That is the singular item that allows you to give the back row glitch to Cane, as he can't equip any sort of bows or boomerangs or anything. So that could really come in handy.
All right, and I see Neon, who has got I think level-wise is behind the other people, but has put together a pretty nice set of gear for people relative. And I think with someone particularly like Yang, putting that karate shirt with the strength bonus is going to really pay dividends for them.
Ooh, Warlink seeing one of the trickier things about this Black Cat Lamia chest in Evelyn. Those black cats can be very dangerous. If you do not one-shot them, they are going to cast Bluster on you. That being said, Warlink got the luckier of the 2 rolls. It can either kill you or hold you. Only a hold today, thank goodness.
And a Dwarf Axe for Warlink. All right, Neon Grey making their way underground, hopefully going to shred through some of these checks with the improved gear and some of the extra levels that we picked up in these chests. Warlink is going to play games with the Mad Ogres, who are not quite able to hit him for as much as I think they would have wished to.
Absolutely. E-Ninja already well underway scrambling some eggs, and with S-Cabins on and not being able to see any hourglasses, we're probably going to see a whole lot of cracked eggs.
Well, I think E-Ninja has decided that there's no better time than now to grind. There are 10 key items in hand. Let's go get Palom all the way up to Nuke and let him really romp his way through the seed.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 key items is that threshold that you hit. Once you get those 10 key items, assuming the flag is on, which traditionally it is, you will double your experience from fights. So that is really a goal to hit. And, as they say, grind early, grind often. So even if you're still searching around, you're still finding who you need to complete your objectives, having those levels is going to make everything not only easier, but faster to just chew through those bosses and those checks that you still got to do.
Well, and I will tell you, the chat for Free Enterprise 2 is lively and helpful today. We have determined that a crystal sword is worth 63.5 cabins.
Thank you for doing the math for us.
All right, Neon Grey getting their first look at King and Queen Evelyn. Kind of a relief to see, but again, we have crossed most of the easy bosses off. If Sid's not sitting on the lunar dais, that giant could be an unpleasant place to go.
Absolutely. No matter who the boss is, I shouldn't say that. I should say there are a few bosses like Water Hag. The Element spot has, correct me if I'm wrong, 65,000 HP. Is that correct, Grant?
That sounds about right, but Water Hag's out of our pool, King, Queen, Evelyn are out of the pool, Officer and Guards are out of the pool. I think the Dark Imps, we've not seen Dark Imps today.
No, we have seen them. They were in the Outline Cave.
So I think the only boss that I would consider relatively free up there is maybe Bahamut and the Guards. And there's a large number of bosses that we have not seen, like a Kadazo or a Valvalis, or I don't think we've seen Ruby yet either. All of those can be really, really unpleasant.
Oh, absolutely. And, Guards typically seen as a quote-unquote free boss because they do not have the boss bit. So most bosses in Free Enterprise and Final Fantasy IV in general have the boss bit that makes them immune to Fatal or Stone or Berserker, a lot of status elements. There are a handful of bosses in Free Enterprise that do not have that, like the Guards. That said, the typical items that you use to get through them, something like the Mute Bell to keep them from casting Piggy or Size on you, or, for example, Coffin or Hourglasses are not available tonight. So they are going to be very tricky for being quote-unquote free with this flag set.
Mm-hmm. Well, Warlink is going to go give us a look at that dais. Meanwhile, Asuka has made her way out and is going to go ahead and also get her completely grinded party finished. Our Lunar Dais character is going to be, drum roll.
Here comes the sparkle.
It is Sid. The giant is not going to be required, and we have go mode for Warlink.
Ooh, that is really interesting. I'm curious, this Warlink, I've been having trouble keeping up with all of our runners tonight. There's so much action with 4 people. How's Warlink's levels looking, Grant?
Not as good as Asuka or E-Ninja, frankly, because those two have been grinding. You can see E-Ninja is very, very close to having Nuke on his Palom, which I think is the goal that both he and Asuka are looking for. And to tell you the truth, Neon Grey has some decent levels from what was done in Eblin. Okay, so I see low 30s for Warlink right now, which is probably not where he wants to be to fight Zeromus. So he's going to have to make a decision about where he wants to go and what he wants to do, and he may be headed over to Cave Value.
It looks to be the case. Probably going to take up a gold dragon fight. Now, another aspect of Z that one has to pay attention to is agility. Once again, I don't think we have seen a cursed ring tonight. So that Z has the potential to be fast, and you're really going to have to be knowledgeable of agility. Now, agility is black magic. I barely understand it, despite all of your best efforts, Tall Grant, to teach me it. But our runner is probably going to have to really kind of take a few interesting steps to be ready for Z.
Well, and I've got congratulations are in order. We have our first finisher for the race. We have several runners running off screen, and with a time of just over 1 hour, Coffee and Chocobos finishes in first place.
GG's to Coffee and Chocobo, a fantastic runner.
Yes, someone who's been on fire and someone you can see in the Red Moon tournament coming up. Really, really fun watch. Highly recommend.
Interesting. I just noticed Warlink does have hourglasses, so I believe our starting kit tonight must have come with hourglasses. So
this may have been a loaded kit with both the exits and the hourglasses present, but that's a very great heads-up play on Warlink. We had mentioned earlier Warlink was the only one that we saw using the exits earlier. I think Warlink took a quick look at the kit and made some very, very good decisions on it, because these gold dragons, while they're going to take him a little bit of time, I think are overall a little bit faster than what the eggs are going to have been in the underworld.
Yeah, absolutely. These gold dragons give you over 100,000, assuming you get that life glitch on, which is turned on. Life glitch essentially means that all of the enemies in Free Enterprise have 0 vitality as a stat, and the life spell, the life pot item, uses vitality to determine how much HP you have when you revive. So when you cast life on an enemy after it is dead or it has been queued up to be killed, it revives them at 0 vitality, thus 0 life, and they die again, and you get double experience.
All right. Well, we see that Neon Grey is through Dwarf Castle and is doing a little inventory management. Meanwhile, Asuka approaches to see the who's going to be back there in the fights and do her fight with King and Queen Eblin. And we see E-Ninja making a peek inside Eblin Castle. I think that all the runners are probably looking for better weapons for both Kane and Edge, because I don't think we've seen anything spectacularly endgame good for either of them.
No, I'm not. I haven't noticed what spear they have on Kane, but yeah, we haven't seen any Hanzo steel, so that Edge is still using a full moon and probably a ninja sword.
I think 3 of the Canes are currently running a Blizzard Spear, and I believe Neon Grey has a Defense Sword, but I may have missed somebody picking that up. But I think Neon Grey found that Defense Sword down going through the Eblin Cave.
That is correct. All right, Warlink exiting out, must feel comfortable with the levels that they got from that grind, and using the crystal to head back to Earth.
Looks like we may have another finisher in here. No, we do not yet have another finisher. My mistake. So Warlink looks like feeling confident and heading for the pass door. Of course, for Enterprise, one of the things it adds is a special door in Toroya, which you can open to take you directly to the moon. Normally, Normally, this is just a secret club for members only, but in this case, it's a secret path to get to the end game and go fight Ceromus. And Warlink has decided that we need to do something a little bit different to finish the grinding, and I think it's... Warlink may have actually run out of sirens.
Oh, interesting. Going back, double dipping for some more sirens. Now, E-Ninja showing a bit of a heads up play. I think we were discussing this earlier. We talk about stealing sirens and getting those for your grind, but E-Ninja has found those Mad Ogres in the chest in Eblin and is attempting to steal some Bacchus wine. Bacchus wine being an item that casts Berserk on your character. That way you can... kind of pour them on healing duty and let those Bacchus do the heavy lifting to get your melee fighter swinging.
Mm-hmm. And E-Ninja also being a bit heads up in using the size spell to hit the Mad Ogres into a method that, number one, they can't really do a lot of physical damage to you. They could, of course, still cast here, so it wouldn't be bad, but despite being mages, these Mad Ogres don't actually cast spells.
Yes, maybe that's why they're mad, because wouldn't you be mad if you were a mage and you couldn't cast any spells? Mm-hmm. Neon Gray turning in the pan, getting that X-Cal, hopefully going to go turn that pan in and get their Darkness Crystal, and hopefully turn around and use the Darkness Crystal right away to get Sid and Go mode for them.
All right, a little destruction of the cannon room for Warlink. It's interesting that we have not seen... Oh, there's Asuka. I was wondering how long it would be after the grinding before she went and got the whale. She's on her way up to the Tower of Wishes, hoping for good things to rise out of the ocean, and of course one of them will. In the meantime, Warlink is still digging around, trying to find a chest where he can steal his sirens.
Also seeming to try and get away from that inventory boss again, doing some preemptive dumping. Inventory boss, especially on these loot heavy ones, can be really tricky. I think we've mentioned that before, but essentially you have limited inventory in Final Fantasy Free Enterprise, so you do all this looting and eventually you hit your cap and you got to throw some things away before they'll let you take more. And once you know it, when you're in a race, that can take a little more time than you'd love to commit to it.
Well, unfortunately for E-Ninja, he may not have remembered that the hook route has got a character that he is fated for the moment, because I still don't think that edge has been picked up, and he's heading for the moon and going to find the Cid, and I'm curious what decision he's going to make once he finds him.
Interesting enough, has not found that Palom either, so has not headed to Dwarf Castle. E-Ninja taking some interesting routing and diverging from the rest of our racers.
Mm-hmm. Well, and E-Ninja, equipment-wise with those Bacchuses, is very, very well set up for the end game, and he's got his levels, so it's really just a matter of getting through those couple of character checks. So E-Ninja's just kind of he has all the abilities to get to all the remaining character checks.
Well, Asuka is standing in front of the dais, about to get the good news there. I believe that she has done her grind, so now the question is does she just make a beeline right to the underground and take a look at her final boss and try and get to that goal?
The only reason I could see her not doing that is she wants to either go find Bacchus line like E-Ninja did, or might be going to look for a little bit better weapon.
Well, Asuka's the kind of racer that loves a challenge. I think of anybody in the community that enjoys low-level and difficult Z-fights, she would be the one who would take it up.
And with a time of 1:06 and 59 seconds, our second-place finisher is Cubs Rule.
GG Cubs Rule.
Mm-hmm. GG's.
I seem to be wrong. Asuka's heading over to Cave Value. I think we may have a little bit more grinding on her side then.
Looking at that, her Palom's level 48. He's not quite to nuke. I believe Palom gets nuke at level 52. So I think Asuka's looking at I think Asuka may need 2 sets of gold dragons to get there. Those last couple levels are pretty well spaced apart. And there's 180,000 experience with the life glitch against these gold dragons. I don't think that's quite enough from level 48 to get to 52.
Right on our tracker pointing out in chat that Cubs Rule actually finished top 2 in both races this week. Really great job from him at getting these community races.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he does in that. Asuka is aware of the hourglasses and is going to use one right now. E-Ninja making his way down into the lunar subterrane.
Now, this is an interesting play making their way down there. So you are strictly looking for characters. So I am wondering here if eNinja is going to take some moon bosses, hoping for some easier fights and get levels that way, rather than doing what a lot of our other runners have done with sirens to get their grind.
Well, eNinja, I think, actually got his grind just about all the way done. So I think this may be either key item hunting for some purpose or looking for even better weapons, frankly. Warlink finishes the tower and collects the crystal sword and is now going to sit down and grind eggs. Meanwhile, we see Neon Gray, who has also made their way up to the moon and is going to go grab that Sid.
I believe Neon Gray has already grabbed the Sid. I see that crystal lit up. Probably diving
Neon
into
Gray. Yeah, I suspect both Neon Gray and Ninja may be looking for better weapons. Just not feeling good about the damage output with what we've got, because we've seen some decent gear, but we haven't really seen good attacking weapons. And I think, frankly, did we see? I don't know if we saw a black shirt. I know we saw a rune ring, which will boost Palom up fairly decently.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of that really high tier gear. Now, that said, Neon Gray not quite at the levels that most people are comfortable with Z. We've seen a few runners go over to Cave Valley to grind those dragons, but you can grind dragons in the lunar subterranean. So may just be planning to take a little bit of a grind here, and in fact has turned on encounters to try and find them, I guess, the all natural way.
All right, we see Asuka coming back to the blue planet, and we are going to have a swag ride with the lunar whale over Troya, blocking the parking space from any other craft and just making the nice landing. And Asuka will be the first of our runners on stream, I think, to go visit Ceromus.
Indeed, eNinja taking the ribbon room, that is 2 boxes in there, 2 great checks, and running into dolls. Now, this is an interesting fight. It's kind of nice to see in this high HP pool here, because it takes that HP and splits it rather than having it all dumped on one character. But eNinja also showing another heads-up play that those back dolls, despite this being an actual boss, those back dolls do not have the boss bit, so you can stop them, and that will prevent them from coalescing into the big doll.
Now, eNinja is not going to be subject to this other problem, but when they do not make the big doll, it actually penalizes the experience you would normally get out of this fight. Well, I should mention that Asuka making her way to the moon, we have several hundred randomized sprites for Zeroma, since we can't randomize and stick him elsewhere in the game. And it's going to be pulled from that pool. And the question we always ask as we come into this Zeroma's fight is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Indeed, and we have some Z flags in chat, so I think chat is also interested. So I certainly hope it is a cute butt, and I certainly hope the butt has a hat.
I will also point out Neon Gray is definitely equipment hunting. We've taken a monster box and found one of the easier ones for that. All right, let's see what Asuka can do for the safety and the justice for all of us here on the blue planet.
Okay, now chat can hear me. Hello.
Hello, Scala.
Hello. I was about to say, normally it comes from that pool of about 560, but not tonight.
Oh, I didn't
you
want to
worked your
ruin
magic.
your surprise.
Yeah, don't worry. I got you all.
You couldn't just have that magic at Harp. You had to have it at the Z too.
I did. I'm also gonna do something special for Restream, because I'm just that kind of person. I'm just waiting real quick.
I will say Scala is one of the heroes of the free enterprise community who does so many wonderful things behind the scenes to make everything function, and probably one of the best things. Well, let's see our Z sprite real quick before we talk about this. All right, Asuka is going to fight Odi One-Omus. That's interesting, because I did not think we were going to... Well, I didn't think we were going to see this boss after it was previewed on our pre-stream, but if you were eagle-eyed and watched it, this boss is coming. So I see we have a very quick slow coming out of Porum. This is going to have a nice effect of both slowing down Zeromus for the fight, but also making it so that the first big bang that comes will do a lot less damage than it normally would.
So, unfortunately, you all can't hear this, but I might have overridden the music, so we have Live Alive's boss music this time around.
Oh man, 3 doses of music. We've been spoiled tonight. Thank you so much,
yes.
Scala.
But what I was going to let you all know, we have a running joke in the community about the 1% Sephiroth chance, which is that there are 5 Sephiroth sprites in the pool of 500-ish. Sorry, there's a 1% chance. When we update next, there is now going to be an audio chance where 8 different versions are all in there now for you. So all the different chapter end bosses are there. So please enjoy your audio chants going forward, because, and I'm going to say this right now on stream, and y'all can quote me about it. Audio best SNES RPG boss.
Ooh, those are fighting words.
They
to some
are.
people.
They are fighting words. Whatever. I stand by what I just said.
We have the hottest of takes tonight.
Well, it looks like Asuka going to let Palom do the heavy lifting. I've seen a couple of darts out of Edge to make this fight go a little better, but I think Asuka's hoping to avoid the refill and is just going to, from this point, let Palom's magic take it through. And I think we've got one big bang that's going to have to be survived here. And it's a bit of a roll of the dice with Palom at his hit points where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Zeromus was, or what I should say is the Super Nintendo had limitations in terms of how much HP one boss could have. So the way the developers of the game got around that was by having an HP refill that gets triggered by a direct attack on Z. So a very kind of heads up play that one can do when they have casters is to bounce spells off of a walled character to do damage, and that will not trigger that refill. So you will only have to get through half the HP rather than the full amount.
And you can see Warlink is going to take that Sid and place it in the party. The intent of this is to actually help with agility anchoring. The Sid is generally a low agility character, and of course this level 20 Sid is going to be much lower agility than the rest of the party, which will hopefully make the rest of the party much faster relative to Zeromus than they would be otherwise. So interesting, good play, good thoughtful play on Warlink's part to try and make the Zeromus fight a little bit less scary.
Indeed, Warlink flying back to Mysidia and making a quick pit stop. C-Buy is not on, so when you do not take a character, they will go to the Tower of Wishes, and you can make the decision to go pick them up. So it looks like Warlink has decided to switch out for his Sid, starting Sid, that will have lower agility and work as his anchor going into Z.
All right, Adamant comes out of the ribbon room, and so we may see E-Ninja go and forge, which will hopefully get us a good weapon. Supersmith is on, so some of the Final Fantasy IV advanced weapons can be given here, but it's not tied to a character like a Hero Seed would be, so we don't know for sure what E-Ninja is going to get for a weapon. Asuka gets through the Big Bang and the following... Black Hole, which removes all the magical effects. We have a wall up on Palom again, and the magic spells are going. I don't think this Odiomus is long for the world. Warlink opening the pass door and going to fight Zeromus.
Yeah, we're going to have our second Z fight going here. Oh no, Neon Grey finding the alt gauntlet for Fabul on the moon, which is just a nasty place to find that fight. Oof.
So yeah, and unfortunately for the Moon Alt Gauntlets, as you get later in the fight, it tends to get progressively nastier. So some of the things toward the end of the fight can really punish you, especially if you have a rough spot in a later fight as you come in and advance to another. And GG's our third place finisher tonight with a time, third place finisher is actually Tybalt, who sniped Asuka by 0.6 seconds. Tybalt sneaking it out in front of Asuka, but first on stream and fourth overall is Asuka.
GG's to Asuka getting through that fight with aplomb, no issues at all, perfectly nerfing those big banes, and did a fantastic job on that fight.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, really, really well done there.
And I think we're going to see if Asuka is available to give us a little bit of an interview and insight into her racing tonight. But while we wait, we've got Warlink going into the Z fight as well. Hopefully going to get through that with as much ease. But oh no, E-Ninja continuing with the very rough fights on the moon and finding Vivalis up there.
Yeah, as predicted, there was some really unpleasant bosses out in the pool, and they are making themselves known up on the moon.
Another heads-up play by Neon Gray casting stone. So Fabul, the alt gauntlet can be a little difficult to get through, but seeing as it's just 5 regular fights, or actually no, I apologize. I had forgotten that Neon Gray had turned on the encounters and was actually using that to do a little grinding. So that was not the Fabul gauntlet. That was just a little bit of fight, a little bit of a normal fight.
And I believe Asuka will be with us momentarily. All right, in the meantime, you can see Warlink is going for hybrid stacks. He has got his Punch Mage berserked up. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Yong does fairly well without having a whole lot of equipment, and there he is. And I believe we are joined by Asuka. Asuka, GG's on your finish tonight. That was really, really textbook Z fight at the end.
Yeah, it was weird doing things with levels.
I was wondering myself if you would just charge that Z, because as I was saying in the restream, if there's anyone to take a low-level Z fight, it's Asuka.
I kind of have to learn how to play by the rules if I'm going to do it.
Where's the fun in that?
I know.
I've got to give you a special shout out too. It was so enjoyable to watch you looting through the Chocobo forests.
Well, Monday I got a cursed ring and a life staff out of it.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I don't think we saw a cursed ring, and in fact, one of the interesting challenges of the seed that I'd love to hear your thoughts on was the lack of high-power weapons for most of the characters.
Well, my answer is going to be a little bit different, and this is where I'm going to be a little bit of a nose up in the air comment here. Unlike people that follow the rules, low-level weapons don't scare me.
Well, and to tell you the truth, I can only say it was masterful watching you do that Z fight and having the wherewithal to have Edge dart the otherwise worthless weapons you would have gotten, and then back him off to avoid the refill and let Palom and Porum do the heavy lifting with the magic.
Yeah, that was pretty much my thought going in there, because I knew they were going to be doing a lot of damage. Well, by they, I mean pretty much Palom. So I knew I had to get rid of the spoon first. I hesitated on the X-Cal because I wasn't sure where Porum's numbers were going to be. And then as soon as Edge died, I was like, yeah, no, we're just going to... It's just going to be Children's Day. With Kane babysitting.
Well, no, it turned out well, and it was a good fight. I also have to applaud you for being heads up enough to go and grab those sirens from the alerts down in Lower Babel. Particularly dealing with S cabins is, I know, somewhat obnoxious. Is there anything that kind of was anything that you did differently, knowing that you weren't going to find anything in shops to change your looting?
Oh, I'm one that actually avoids shops like the plague, like also plague, because that floaty eyeball butt can go away. But yeah, I don't shop, so it's S cabins is fine. I looted way too many sirens, but because I don't grind for levels, I don't know how many sirens I need. So I ground up enough sirens to get myself to, I think it was Fatal, knowing that I still had to go to the moon. I'm like, I'll just go to the moon. If it's Sid, cool. I'll just get gold dragons and finish off Nuke and White with a nice 2 grind right there. And then if it's not Sid, I'll finish off Quaker, Nuke, and White with a nice 2 grind and then go to the Giant. But looking at the finishers, as soon as I saw our first place finisher with a really fast time, I was very, very certain Sid was going to be on the dais. To be honest.
So speaking of floaty eyeball butts, you had, if I remember correctly, the harp and the earth crystal in your hand, and you decided to go earth first. That is a little bit of an interesting play based on kind of, I would say, more straightforward routing. So I'm curious what your thought process was. Was it just those character checks that were more luring?
No, that's me learning how to play like everybody else before the tournament, because otherwise I would have gone immediately to harp. And it burned me. I was so sad.
Well, it's one of those plays. There's a good number of people out in the community who are fans of Fading Harp to the very last check, and it's fairly even odds that one of them is going to have the have your underground access sitting behind it. If that harp doesn't have it, you've suddenly gained 4 to 5 minutes over the other runners.
Yeah, and I mean, there's in 1v1 settings. The funny thing about doing enough restreams is you learn who fades and who doesn't.
And by the way, GG to our friend Warlink, who just finished his Zeroma's fight and finishes in 5th place overall, at 2nd on stream. Or 6th overall, excuse me. Jay Brun, while we were interviewing, also finished in 5th place.
It's one of those I've seen enough people to know who fades it and who doesn't, and how I can use that against them in a 1v1. Because I'm not going to win anything in a foot race. I can tend to meta, though.
Well, you know, it's interesting to hear you say that, Asuka. I think you struggled a little bit more on Zot than the other runners, but as soon as you came out of Zot, almost everything was really pinpoint accuracy, efficient, smart, the entire way. There's a lot of game IQ that you demonstrated when you were running tonight, and I think it showed that led you to first place on stream today.
Hey, I can't lie anymore. I know a thing or two about this game, all right? I've done a good job hiding it for 2 years, but...
I think you're the only one who tries to claim that you don't have game knowledge, but alas, every time you get restreamed, you expose yourself just a little bit more.
And I will tell you, I believe, Asuka, you can view in the tournament next week, chasing after the Red Moon.
That pretty much stems from the fact that I hate power overwhelming. And I prefer puzzles to power, and Red has the puzzles. For me, it was never a question of which moon, it was whether or not I had the guts to do it. I still don't, but here we are. I'll do my best to represent the ladies, unless anybody wants to join me in Red Moon. I love you if you did!
Well, it was a fantastic run tonight, Asuka. GG's again on your first place on Restream, and just curious if you have any final thoughts on this flag set, or what to look forward to with ZZ5 coming up.
GG's to Neo. Creating this flag set. Neo is good people, and everybody should give him all the love and respect that he deserves. All the featured runners are fluffing awesome. E-Ninja, Neon, Warlink, y'all are cool. Beauty, Tall Grant, awesome job. The musical lovers yourselves, fantastic. Probably a fantastic job on comms, I'll find out, but y'all are super cool, so totally. Rybon pushing all the buttons, Scala with the magic, with the awesome harp, and I'm assuming that boss is also from the game anime. I don't really know much.
Yes, it was, and in fact, there may have been a little bit of hand of God to make sure that we got a live alive boss appearing tonight.
It's when you can't get normally yet. You will after the next update. So have fun learning about all the forums, learning about Odio and his many faces, to quote the game.
And I will remind anybody out there who's on the fence about ZZ5, we've got about 3.5 hours left to register. It looks like we have got 105, which is a record for free enterprise tournaments. Go register, go do it. I will tell you, the last tournament we did was my first tournament. I made some very fantastic friends, one of them who's doing comms with me tonight. It is so much fun to get involved in the community and do that. So if you're on the fence, please go register. You got a couple hours for it.
Y'all are super cool. Give them likes, loves, and follows. And yeah, that's all I got. I know Warlink's waiting, so we'll let cool people talk to you.
We had somebody pretty cool in here. Congratulations, Asuka.
Thanks.
Congratulations, and have a great night.
You too. Bye.
As we wait for Warling to join us, I do want to point out Neon Gray giving us a fantastic Swag Rocks cast on those Calbrenna dolls.
Yep, and a look at the Forge. Meanwhile, we have our 6th place overall finisher and 2nd on stream finisher, Warlink05. GG's, Warlink. How was your run?
Thank you. It's I tried to fade like Underground and Moon as much as possible, but at least Moon is haunted or not required, except for picking up that Sid.
Well, picking up the Sid and potentially looking for gear. How did the weapons or lack thereof affect what you were doing tonight?
Palin was good. Yang just needs levels 2. Needs levels, doesn't need gear. Edge was rocking the full moon longsword, and Kane was wielding the Gunyear sword until I spiked a defense sword. So basically, it's kind of a little bit lacking. The only reason I did is they have tower play towards the end. It's not only because I was picking up sirens, but also hopefully to spike a legend sword to see wherever's the super forge is, and I saw it's just the Paresis bow, so that is completely useless for this party. It's basically I'm not feeling well with this group. I'm trying to get the twins up to Nuke and White, and hopefully have enough damage to DPS raise the Romas before the second Big Bang, but luckily, unfortunately, it happened and went to Big Bang into rocks, but luckily enough, characters, Yang especially, got the dodge rolls or able to withstand that, and I was about to yellow Palin with a direct nuke because it's getting close to the end, and I'm taking the risk right there. But overall, gear-wise, it's adequate to finish the seed, but for Zero's itself, it felt a little bit sketchy compared to what happened on Monday.
Well, I'd love to ask you a question about your overworld strategy. You were actually the first of our runners to go to Cave Magnus and get that hook, and you actually followed that up pretty quickly with grabbing the rat tail, which was, gave you your underground access. What drove you to go to Zot before you wanted to go check underground?
Even though I have underground access and I didn't do the free key iron check, and since I'm in the area, I tend to not to do bedward for free key items on until like I have an exit user, or if I have the earth crystal, I can do that and raid the treasury at the same time. So when that twin heart popped up, it's like, okay, I can do twin heart first. I know at that point underground access is either through Cave Magnus or bedward's holding something, and then got the hook and picked up the freaking iron was the Baron key. At that point, there isn't a force hook. There's nothing forcing. There's no like predetermined force underground access. So I was in the area. Let's do the rat tail. If it's a magma key, great. Only thing I do in K Evelyn is for the character check, and hopefully that'll be hopefully that pays off with the character, which was the Edge. And then everything is just. And basically with Mega Key, I can just go underground and try to do more character checks as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that was good heads-up play, turning in that rat tail. I mean, I think some people might be a little tempted. You have the hook, that's a character check, that's your path underground. You can just keep going with your routing, but turning in that rat tail really paid dividends for you getting that magma key.
Yeah, as long as when I look at the flag set, if there's no force hook or force magma, and I give him the hook, 9 times out of 10, I'll just full clear the overworld to exhaust all the chests just in case a magma key pop up. And by the looks of it, DKC is at Ruby spot. I don't have my notes up me. I think I can get through it with my party because I have a Cure 3 stashed somewhere, but glad that I found the magma key. And to quote one of the NPCs down in the path, hook seeds are the worst.
Indeed they are, especially if you run into a particularly rough boss down there. So heads up play to keep going with that and find that magma key rather than have to deal with that.
Well, and speaking of heads-up plays, there's one other thing I saw you do, Warlink, that I don't think the other runners caught nearly as fast, and that was we saw you using your exits in your starting kit early. Did you manage to catch during the opening stroll that you had a lot of the items, or did you just happen to know what's in the loaded kit? Because you didn't seem to have any problem remembering that you had both exits and hourglasses handed to you at the start.
I know one of the kits has exit, and it was a loaded kit, and that's why I stopped momentarily. It's like, we had the little kit, this says exit, which it does, and that's basically okay. That's good enough to do the full clear of Watery Pass, because T Wildish, there's some high level gear down there, so basically using that for my advantage, clearing through Watery Pass, go down the antline when finish that up, exit out, and just some little things here and there. Is like, okay, I have exit use until I get Poro and get her up to learning exit. So it's just one of those heads up things that I know. Exit is one of the kits. It's one of those things of, I played a lot of C's. I don't know at the top of my head which one has exits, and Loaded is one of them. There might be another one that has exits in the kit. So it's one of those things that if I have an exit user or exits in the kits, and it's T Wildish or that rare case of T Wild, I'll do the full looted Watery Pass just to see what the gear is like.
Yeah, and diving for gear was kind of the name of the game with S cabins on here. I think the other aspect of that as well is with S cabins on, you can't do your normal thing of going to the shops and buying the items you need. So we also saw another real heads up play with you doing some steals on Mad Ogres for some Bacchus wines, and I'm curious if you did a little bit of research before the seed to kind of know where you could find some of those high value items.
Yeah, with S-Chems, you have S-Chems is one of those places like you're fully relied on chests and some of the enemy sneak tables. I know the most popular ones are Bacchus wines of Mad Ogres, Sirens from the Searchers, and if you haven't found Silk Webs at all, pop a Siren outside of Coco for the Centipedes and steal one from that. So basically, at that point in my mind, I was already in Gomo. Sid is, at that point, I thought, oh, Sid's out in the Giant, I'd do a demonic grind, grab enough Bacchus wine to get through those two bosses and Promotus and Ramus. And then when I got in the way, I was like, oh wait, there's a character check on Lunar Deus, and boom, Sid was there. It's like, great. I should have picked. If I knew that ahead of time, I would have got pick up 3 more Sirens, burn them on Gold Dragons, try to get Pal and Porm close to White and Nuke, and probably take a Moon Boss down there for some Romans for my grind. But it's one of those things that went over my head, and when I look at the key eye, it's like, okay, I just need. When I got underground, it's basically packaged in darkness is my go mode for my last character. So it's one of those things that if I know ahead of time, I would have done the lower tower, grab the Sirens, and do Go Dragons on top and find Sid up the moon.
All right. Well, Warlink, you have any other thoughts on the seed tonight?
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that Megavania is not being played just for the lulz, but I know this has been a curated seed, but oh wait! I've been told this is a live.
This is indeed a alive seed.
Yeah.
Not Undertale.
No.
I named my characters because I thought we're playing Megavania. So
No. But also, like, legit, go look up the Live Alive 25th anniversary concert for the official mashup of Megalomania and Megalovania.
Yeah, I already started playing the remaster on the Switch. I already went through the wrestler's story, since that's the short one, and I'm going through as Q because that's there's no boss fights for that except for the last one and the little mini game you can play. So, which is you fight the Serranos Price is the final boss. Is the boss for that one. So
yes.
I'm slowly going through the game because it's one of those games like I need to do it in small bursts because 7 different stories, including an 8th one that includes
That's a lot. It's a lot.
There's a story you forgot to put in the character story, and we're saying,
Don't worry about it.
and that's why that's a good story. And I'm glad I'm going to explain it and didn't get silver muted. So, anyways, I think I take everyone's good times. I'm assuming that's all of it. So, Telegram, Beer and Discovery, thanks for the comm. Scholar, thanks for doing your witchcraft on the seed, and Ryvon pushing on the buttons. And besides that, I'm going to dip out, let the other runners come in the rest of the runners come in the booth. So everyone out there watching, have a nice evening.
And I think we have a finish from both E-Ninja and Neon Gray while we're doing that. But congratulations, Warlink. Warlink, by the way, will be running in the Blue Moon ZZ5 tournament, so that's super exciting. We hope you guys will tune in. All right. Well, I think we've got a couple more interviewees coming in. Neon Gray had a little bit of danger going through that Z fight, but they pulled through, and it looks like a pretty good close to it. So hopefully we will be hearing from a couple of our other runners before we call it a night.
Absolutely, but up first we have E-Ninja, GG. That seed definitely was a bit of a rude one for you, unfortunately, but GG's nonetheless for getting through so much of it.
Yeah. I just got caught up in trying to figure out where the Earth crystal was.
I think actually you were the first person to actually have the Earth crystal and go complete Zot.
Wait. No, I don't think. Man. I didn't think.
But yeah, you actually had a pretty masterful fight against the D-Lunars on the way up there. I was actually going to compliment you for how well that went.
I was about to say, I had 2 characters left on my seed, so...
Yeah, indeed. I think we saw you drop the hovercraft off at Ebelin Cave, but unfortunately...
maybe I'm thinking package?
Yeah, the package you were definitely looking for a while.
Package is what I was looking for.
Yeah, package, I believe...
Had the... Oh... The package had the character, right?
Mm-hmm. The package did. The package had actually duplicate Tella behind it. I think the characters you were missing was the in the hook route there was an edge, which would have been an objective, and then Sid was up on the moon, which I think you grabbed, and I think there was a Palamon Dwarf Castle that was also something you hadn't picked up.
Yeah, character searches are a little bit of a unique flag set. It's kind of interesting going into ZZ5. We have ourselves a boss hunt, and kind of as a lead into it, we have the character hunt. A lot of times you don't necessarily think of characters as your objective, so you kind of fade those spots. I myself had a situation like that not too recently on Restream as well, so I can definitely identify.
Yeah, and it's particularly with the tournament being so looming in front of us, we're kind of focused on that, and the tournament is exactly the opposite of this, where they hand you all your characters at the start of the seed and you're done. It's real easy to get in that mode of thought.
Yeah, I was thinking more like bosses, items, and then checks like that. I'm just thinking more Blue Moon.
Yep. I've been there. It's really hard with all the practice we've been doing to not just get so laser focused on Blue Moon that you forget that you're not necessarily playing that seed.
Hey, you're not looking for characters. You're looking for bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, you made a little bit of interesting choice early on in the seed when you had both harp and earth in hand. I think a lot of people would make the choice to do that harp check because you're right there, and then you go right into Zot, and that drops you off in Baron. But you went earth crystal first. Was it the character checks that were kind of driving you there before the harp check, or are you just in the cult of Fade harp?
No, I don't mind playing. I don't mind doing the harp. I just did it for character checks because I knew it was a straight character check thing.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the harp was really kind of hard gating your underground access, but nonetheless got a couple of your objectives there. So not a bad play at all considering the flag set.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I went into this kind of blind because I really didn't check the flags before I actually signed up for this race. So I kind of went into a little blind.
And this flag set has a few interesting aspects. S cabins, as we kind of touched on, you don't see that one too often. So I wonder if that informs some of your looting decisions, some of your routing, knowing that you couldn't buy, any of those really hot button items like sirens or Bacchus wine.
Yeah, that's why during a couple of couple times I stole sirens and Bacchus wines.
I like that heads up play to grab the Bacchus wine. I think you were the only runner we saw do that, and it was really nice to pair that with the sizing trick on the Mad Ogres before you did it, just that they couldn't really retaliate on you.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured just size them and they couldn't do nothing, and I just go along my way with stealing wine.
Now, E-Ninja, I believe you are signed up for the Blue Moon part of the tournament for ZZ5. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What are you looking forward to most? I think both myself and Grant, we're all Blue Moon here, so we're all going to be in the same tourney. How's your practice going? Are you looking forward to it?
I've been practicing. I'm still. I mean, I might do the. There's a ladder later on. I might actually sign up for it and just do it for fun. Got to get that practice in.
That we do, and with the tournament starting on Tuesday next week, it's getting rather close.
Yep. So probably this weekend I'll practice, and I have a bunch of other stuff to do. But yeah, I should be ready by Tuesday.
Very, very fun. I think that's a good call out for the ladder that we haven't made. We have definitely talked about the Discord, ZZ5, but also hand in hand with the community is the ladder server that gives you opportunity to go kind of do some timely 1v1 races against different opponents that sign up with a variety of flag sets, including, of course, our ZZ5 flags. So quite a fun time for those that maybe aren't going to be in the tournament or would rather take it a little easy. But honestly, I may see you in that ladder race a little later tonight, E-Ninja.
Okay.
And I would be remiss not to point out, for those of you that are interested in racing while the tournament's going on, there will be a bit of a pause in the clubs, but I have seen that S-Grunt's 2 clubs, Edge versus the Blue Planet and Looters Anonymous, are going to probably be testing some new flag set. I also hear Warlink, who we should have asked him about, has got something secret up his sleeve that he may be testing soon. And of course, you may see a seed from Beauty and myself in Film Friends. So there are definitely, again, options. Check out our Discord, you can see it.
Yeah, very fun. Any last thoughts on the seed, E-Ninja?
Not really. I mean, it was something.
It was indeed something with a whole lot of free bosses on the overworld. Well, thank you so much for featuring on Restream tonight. It was a pleasure watching you and having you in for interview, and hope you have a good rest of your night and good luck on the ladder.
Yep. You have a good night as well.
All right, well, that was E-Ninja, and we have our last racer on the Restream joining us, Neon Gray. GG's on the finish, 3rd place, wrapping up Z on the Restream.
All right, Neon, I think you may still be on mute because I'm not hearing you yet.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that.
Can't throw stones in glass houses. I do it all the time.
Yeah, I've got this really handy hardware mute button I use all the time, but I always forget to turn it off.
Well, I'd like to start by go ahead and give your opening thoughts, and I've got a couple things to compliment you on.
Yeah. I forget what I was going to say. So, oh right, sorry about those technical difficulties right at the start. I had my auto tracking go wonky. At the same time as my source had also, apparently. And then, what am I supposed to do? Track manually?
Perish the thought.
That's going back to the Dark Ages there.
Yeah, no. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I really liked your play. You were, of our Restream runners, the only one who did the nice, efficient routing to park outside Troya and go do Harp before you go up Zot. And I always love and appreciate that play, and I love seeing the time that you made up from doing it because you didn't have to do the flight back from Baron. And that was something I liked. So I guess my first question for you is, I think when the stream diverged, you had it off for Eblin Castle. Were you primarily just trying to get better gear for your party before you went forward?
Yeah, like I was basically through the entire seed, just really kind of unhappy with my gear. Like that edge was literally using a full moon and a short sword. Still, there's a reason why I didn't really worry about cursing him like that, because yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, everyone else was roughly in the same boat as you. Gear was very lean this seed, especially for S cabins being turned on. You know, S cabins is a little bit of a unique flag that you don't see too often, and I'm curious if that really informed your looting decisions overall.
Oh yeah. Like if I'd been able to buy something acceptable in a shop, like I would not have I would not have leveled with those couple of lunar trap chests that I took. I would have just gone straight for like the sirens from Babel and just gone that way.
And I think you still found the best weapon I think I saw for Edge, or for Kane rather, because I think I saw you pull a defense sword out of the hook route. But everybody kind of struggled with that weapon thing. I will say that did come in handy. I saw that during your Z fight, you had a really close call where it was just Edge and Porum at a really critical juncture, and thankfully everything pulled back together, and you were able to get the fight done from there. What was going through your head when you got to that point in the fight?
Honestly, at that point, I wasn't too worried, just because I knew the timing of the fight pretty well. I knew I had time to, get my cures off, and that was a very strong Porum. She was well able to take those unnerfed big bangs, easy peasy pie. So it was not as worrisome as that looked, at least.
Yeah, it was. I think someone in chat mentioned it was a little bit of a nouveau power couple. Power couple being your Rosa and Cecil. You got Kane, you got Porum. That's a swinger. That's a white mage. That'll get the job done.
Yeah. And yeah, I wish I'd gotten that defender suitor, but I actually pulled it right at the very end out of that ribbon room, which it was dolls in there, so it wasn't great for any supplemental XP, but I had what I needed there. The defense sword, that was very nice.
Now, speaking of grind,
go ahead, Beauty.
Okay, I was gonna say, speaking of grind, I think we saw something else that's relatively unique in that you turned on encounters in the lunar subterrane. Was that just strictly a grind option for you while you were doing trap chests looking for gear down there? I also think you're the only person who ran into Bimmy and Jimmy, the dreaded dragon pair, hanging out in that treasure chest, that trap chest in the lunar subterrane.
A little bit of grind, because select encounters there do give you a lot of XP. The other was also in a scenario with weapons so light on the ground. There's one thing that is available in unlimited quantity if you've got an edge and the ability to turn on encounters and moon access, and that's Artemis arrows. So I was aiming to pull enough of those to utilize Porum as an attacker for just getting the rest of the levels, which, given that what I got came off of dragons, that actually worked out fairly well.
Yeah, and combined with that Artemis bow that you pulled out of the treasure, I think you're the one who made the absolute most use of the bows down there. I think a lot of people were just kind of scoffing at the arrows, and you definitely put it to work. We also really did appreciate watching the swag walk down to the lunar core.
It wasn't too much of a swag walk, just because I had saved first to go and see if there had been anything fun in that Supersmith. And boy, that would have been fun if there'd been a Rosa. So,
yeah, or it would have been entertaining to see something like an Able Lance appear.
Yeah, but I figured at that point, I'm not winning it. Might as well go see what we've got down there. And, I like the Perseus bow. like it better when Rose is there to use it.
You know, you may be trying to discount your swag walk down to Z, but you cannot discount those swag rocks. Always a pleasure to see someone cast Meteo on stream.
Much of a swag walk if I don't save. If I save first. If I come and go off a save, it's not much of a swag.
Well, but you could have dropped the pass and you wanted to show off the strut. We love that. Well, the other thought, I believe you're signed up for the blue side of ZZ5, the Blue Moon side. Is that correct? And do you have any thoughts on the tournament coming up?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really like what it does with constraining your character choices. As you can kind of gather, I like, thinking about what to do with the party at hand, and it's a great flag set for that, and the fact that it's so boss hunt oriented, it really it requires you to think about how you fight bosses, and that's something I really enjoy. I don't have much hopes of doing well, as I'm a stunt player. I'm not. I can get up to a brisk jog when I'm in practice, and hopefully I'll get that. But I'm just here to have a good time.
Absolutely, and I think that's the number one thing is we talk about a lot about the tournament and fast times and everything, but at the end of the day, free enterprise in any video game really is about having a blast. So we've talked a lot about joining the tournament and encourage people in chat and viewers to join in, and doesn't matter if you in a double elimination you take 2 losses to get knocked out, as long as you have a good time, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it goes. Like I'm not the sort of person who minds losing. I like winning, but if I lose, I lose. I came out to have fun playing a video game. I had fun playing a video game. And the Blue Moon, I think, is really breezy. It's a very fun little flag set. I always do like them a little bit lighter weight that way with the higher gear power, just because I like big numbers.
And we had a lot of fun watching you play a video game tonight. You were fantastic on the restream. We appreciate you signing up for it. So I guess, unless you had any last questions, Grant, I want to check and see what your last thoughts on the seed are.
Please go ahead.
I was just about to say I don't really have anything else further myself, so yeah. It was very fun, and that is the magic is actually a lot of why I went out of my way to hold that twin heart, because I'm like, I want to hear the magic. I know there's magic, and it was some excellent magic.
Well, GG's again, Neon Gray, on the fantastic run. It was a pleasure watching you, pleasure having you in the booth tonight for an interview. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too, and thanks to everyone and the team. Thanks to Scala also for the magic, which, boy, after Monday, we that was somehow you outdid yourself. You beat Random Chance, which was a miracle, really.
Well, GG's, Neon. Well, let me tell everybody out there watching about a couple of upcoming fun streams that we have for you to watch out there. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern, which will be noon Pacific, and of course 2 o'clock if you're at cool Pacific or cool Central Time like I am, there is going to be the season finale of From the Perspective of. This is going to be a playable Golbez seed, which is always a lot of fun, and you can see what kind of neat things are there. Great to play in and great to watch. So check that out. And then on Sunday, sometime in the evening, not quite set in stone yet, we're going to have the prospectus where the brackets and other details of the ZZ5 tournament will be revealed. Both of these broadcasts are going to be on the Free Enterprise main channel, so we encourage you to hop on and check them out because they're going to be absolutely awesome.
Yes, I am so excited for this tournament. We're both signed up. I'm very excited to watch, as well as be continue to be on the Restream team. So I'm looking forward to it. Hope to see you there in chat. And I think tonight we're wrapping up. We are going to be rating Scythe Marshall, who's running a quote unquote bad ideas version of a Red Moon flag set, async MPSMH0. So if you're signed up for the async, you may want to mosey on out before joining us for this raid, but let's go say hello to Scythe Marshall this evening.
Thank you so much for watching with us. We hope you all have a great night.
Absolutely. And thank you again to all my Restream partners. Fantastic having you in the booth, Grant, Rybon. Great job pressing those buttons. And Scala, always a pleasure to have you on Restream.
Thank you all. Y'all have a lot of fun tonight, and look forward to the tournament. Yay!
Good night.